Hola! Welcome to my lesson plan based on the ideas found in Coco. The first thing I did when developing this lesson plan was to watch Coco and to look for different themes, different ideas, and just generally understand what the film was about. It made me go un poco loco, let me tell you. Because when I was watching this movie, there are so many things that you can focus a lesson plan on in a way where the children will find it exciting and they'll be able to connect it to themselves and to everybody else in very meaningful ways. The movie itself did a wonderful job of reflecting Hispanic culture in a way where it connected the problems found within the film that cross cultural barriers. And that's why, even though someone who might not have celebrated El Dia de los Muertos in real life may have still connected to some of the situations that still occurred in the movie. Coco does a wonderful job of allowing you to explore the tradition, the culture. You get to learn new material if you're not associated with Dia de los Muertos, and you get to find bits and pieces that you emotionally attach to. So that made me really excited to develop a lesson based off of it. However, you don't need to specifically watch Coco to complete this lesson plan. I wanted to create it in such a way where the average teacher, who might not have the 2 hours in the classroom to play the movie for her students, can still go through the lesson and complete it. There are other resources that you can use prior to the lesson to develop their foundation and knowledge on Dia de los Muertos and the culture before you actually do the lesson. However, if you get a chance, Coco is an excellent resource to utilize. Before moving forward, I wanted to allow you to have that information that I was not able to do the lesson plan that I specifically created with my cooperating teacher because the classroom that I was observing in is a duolingual classroom where students are learning both English and Spanish alongside one another. This means the teacher, who is Mexican herself, had already developed an extensive unit on Dia de los Muertos that covered 2 weeks of lessons prior to the actual holiday. Now, in this slide, you can see some examples of what she included within her unit. This is an ofrenda. She was able to separate the religious portion away from ofrendas in a way where students were still able to learn the importance about family, remembering loved ones, and providing gifts to those who have already passed away, like one student who provided Kit Kats to a late grandparent who loved them. Students were so excited to show their ofrendas when I came to observe. It was crazy. Now, the cooperating teacher that I had also read books based on Dia de los Muertos, and she developed an understanding for the students about the history behind it. Not only that, but families were able to contribute as well. There was one parent who came in while I was observing and provided these little electronic candles to provide in front of each of the ofrendas. You can kind of see them in the bottom right picture, but that was before she brought um, more in. And the ofrendas, they were completed at home, so you can see where the parents kind of did their part in helping decorate it. But the cooperating teacher did not show Coco in her classroom. And this is what I meant by utilizing other resources to be able to complete culturally relevant activities in social science. I did my portion of the unit where I was able to help students with creating their beautiful, beautiful skulls. Now, this activity did take up a little bit of time. However, if you could only see how excited and immersed the students were in their activity, even those who normally may not be so responsive when doing something like this in the classroom. Now, Ms. G did not provide any economic standards. She was focusing more on the general social science standards, which worked out beautifully. The focus during this activity was to pre-plan creating their school by looking through different images online. Each student is provided a tablet at the beginning of the school year, which they are able to utilize whenever the teacher tells them they can. And after the pre-planning and decorating school on a sheet of paper, they were provided only 5 minutes to add the other decorations. So the additional decorations were glitter and glue. This was done after they colored the skull. So some students were very diligent in creating very specific artworks on their skulls before adding on the glitter. Afterwards, when skulls have dried, we added them to the decoration of the classroom. This made the students so excited to see them become a part of such a beautiful, beautiful holiday and culture. Here are some really quick reflection notes that I took during my observations of the final lesson, which were the skulls. Allow all students to participate. That is probably the most important factor because even though this is a dual lingual classroom, not all students began with their L1 as Spanish. Some students began as Polish, other students began as English. So there are many students within the classroom that come from very culturally diverse families. Unfortunately, for part of this unit, there wasn't enough in-class time to complete the activity, like the ofrenda. As a result, you can see how, even though the families were probably excited to become a part of the activity, many of the ofrendas were generally parent created. I didn't really see a lot of students who did it by themselves. And you have to make the expectations of activity clear. And I think Miss G did a really, really good example of this because she did not focus on the religious aspect. She did not focus on primarily just the language. She did not focus on memorizing facts and dates. She made something in a way where the students were part of the holiday, part of the culture. It made it feel important. It made them excited. That's why when I walked in that first day, when I saw the ofrendas, they could not contain their excitement. They would run up and they're like, look at this, look at this, look at my ofrenda, look at my ofrenda. And they were explaining to me all these beautiful things about what they've learned. And you just know that all that information is going to stay with them. And finally, you don't have to necessarily watch the movie Coco, just like how I mentioned before. And I hope that showing you this example of how Miss G completed her lesson plan in social science based on Dia de los Muertos um, supports that idea. You can be creative, you can do, you can use what you need to. You don't specifically need to use a movie. However, if you get a chance, definitely watch it because you will love it. Thank you.